Operation Wildfire came out in February of 2016. Along with it came this case, the Bowie knife, some unique finishes for the Bowie knife, and the new rendition of Nuke. Yes, it is pronounced Bowie. Let's move on to the skins. First up is the MAG10 Lapis Gator by Sunray, latest workshop name being Stasi 4K. Originally called Electricity and part of a 7-skin collection with the same name, all using the anodized multicoloured finish, though strangely this is the only one to use a dark blue colour. The rest are more of a turquoise shade instead. The Cartel dual Berettas are the third and final from the set to be accepted so far. They're once again submitted to the Room on Fire workshop, but were made by Coyote37 and Hanzo, who have hidden Easter eggs on this design as they have with the others. They believe that when seen from a distance, they can double up as a brown laminate pattern. The PP Bizon Photic Zone by Citizen is part of a collection called Citizen, which is the end result after many failed attempts. He made the Tec9 design first before moving straight onto the Bizon, which he felt was neglected by the community and so wanted to make a design for it that would stand out. He felt the Citizen design worked well on the long body and magazine of this device. After uploading, it was initially met with little interest. He continued to make skins for a year without success and was ready to quit, thinking that maybe he wasn't cut out for it, balancing work, family and skin making in his life. But one day he got back from work, started up his computer and found that his design had been accepted. He said the feeling was overwhelming and made him shake. All's well that ends well for Citizen, and he advises anybody making skins to keep up the hard work. Sure, work on designs that you enjoy. Don't be afraid to try different techniques and to learn UV sheets, and one day, success could happen to you too. Most designs on PTPs were simple and straightforward, but not so with the Tec9 Jambiya. He worked on it using 3ds Max. He was inspired by Jambiya daggers. Their sheaths are covered with intricate carvings and inlays which easily translate onto the Tec9's tubular-shaped upper receiver. His original plan was to make the bottom half look like jadestone, but it didn't work without having subsurface scattering shader support. Something to add for Source 2, Valve. So instead, he went for a painted design, which works much better with the engine. The story behind this would have been that a soldier would have painted this to customize his weapon. He was sure to include visible brush strokes and inconsistencies to give it a hand-painted appearance. Endrit wanted his SSG08 Necropos design to be a little bit different from other skins by having runes on the weapon shine bright. He would have liked to have textured the scope as well, but sadly it wasn't supported in the workshop. It's part of the Scavenger collection. Many of the designs seem inspired by Mad Max. TO didn't follow a certain concept with the USP-S lead Conduit, formerly named Voltage and part of his Royal series. He feels that Valve likes a non-standard approach in creating textures and rewards experiments. For this one, he led by his hand and got some patterns that he liked and felt fitted the series, which he built upon with every submission of his, perfecting the style over time. The 5.7 Triumvirate by Final, Arisato, was originally part of the Augmented Collection and has it written somewhere on the side of each of his designs, heavily inspired by Deus Ex Human Revolution, mixed with camouflage. Valve asked for him to change the name away from AUG, as they felt that it would confuse people between this and the AUG weapon type. The 5.7 and SG have the same logo on the grip of the guns. It's from a fictitious weapons manufacturer. He loves trying to make things look authentic, like something a real company would use. He was surprised when he was contacted about this entry, as 10 months had passed. It motivated him to start making skins again, and sure enough, a second entry was accepted as well. He says that these designs get a lot of negative feedback, so he tries to avoid looking as much as possible. Well, Final, I can certainly say that I like it. The MAG7 Praetorian by Coyote37 has the Latin Semper Fidelis written on the side, which is the motto for the United States Marine Corps, meaning always loyal. It was first used by the Praetorian Guard, who were the elite troops of the Roman Empire. This skin is inspired by them, mixing engraved gold, raw steel and graphic patterns. It is also made by Hanzo, meaning that this skin is also brought to you by the same duo behind the Cartel collection. The MP7 Impire by the Danny Dem has an interesting twist, because although it's the MP7, it was the MP9 skin that got accepted. I suggest checking out the workshop page as it's very high energy and motivated, complete with lots of amusing images of the design. There's even an adorable animation on the workshop page showing how he drew the imps on these designs, who are random with every drop and who can almost be completely removed with the battle-scarred version thanks to the spray paint design finish. The Famas Valence by Ceridium is the second of this series to be accepted, which isn't bad going, seeing as there are just 2 in the set. It was originally called the Contour Collection, but was renamed by Valve, and Ceridium agrees with the change as he feels it rolls off the tongue more easily. It was originally inspired by topological maps of rural areas, as he liked how the 3D shape of the land was depicted using numerous flowing lines, creating the illusion of depth from a flat page. The design advanced as he moved it towards line thickness rather than quantity, similar to that used in product design sketches. This design he describes as red, yellow, grey, blue themed, and used paint to point out the subtle blue tones to me. The paintwork fades convincingly with wear, and if you like this design then I recommend checking out the P250, which has the same style but uses blue instead of the Famas' red. TO's second weapon in the set is the Glock Royal Legion, formerly known as the Award. It sports his trademark intricate metalwork and a brown, orange, red lower half. It uses the gunsmith design, which was added later than the others by Valve, and that combines the shiny patina style with the flexibility of the custom painted parts. He loves the intricate German style of old weapons, which he tries to replicate with his designs. Each one takes 3 to 7 days for him to complete using ZBrush and Substance Painter, and he does them from imagination, rather than from reference. The Nova Hyper Beast by Renegade is the third and second most recent time that the Hyper Beast design has made it to a skin. Although it was originally made to fit all weapons, it has ended up being redrawn to fit better onto the M4 and Nova designs. It's a very successful design, having found its way onto more than just weapon skins for CSGO. And how about that? The AWP Elite Build by Mind is also the third and latest time that this design has been accepted, and in the same case as the Hyper Beast every time. The Elite Build was one of the first skins to feature drawn-on details like nuts and vents. It's only on the popular weapons too. For the others is Mind's Riot series, which is also worth a look. The Desert Eagle Kumicho Dragon by the Honey Badger. He wanted to call it Ceremonial Dragon, but needed a role rather than an objective. He eventually went with Kumicho, which sounds better in English than the other options he could have chosen. He worked on the Emperor Dragon design first, which had a different colour scheme and which was the most popular on the workshop. But he also made different colour schemes, with this being one of them, and it turned out that this was the one that got accepted. He's okay about it though, since the colour scheme of the Emperor version later went on to influence the P2000 Imperial Dragon, which was added. It's worth checking out the other 2 radically different variants of this same design. The M4A4 Battlestar was made by Millennia and originally called the Pioneer. He models spaceships for a day job and applies this to the weapon skins that he designs. He has tried other styles but tends to stick to a mix of sci-fi and industrial. He says that he's done a full circle as he started his path as a 3D artist before moving on to models and then back to CSGO again. He makes his skins into 3D models first, rather than the traditional 2D painting method, which he feels helps with this sort of mechanical design. He's excited to see what the future holds for the workshop. He mentioned how he would love for emissive maps to be added to Source 2 to allow for glowing skins, as he feels that right now there are many limitations with what can be done, even with the gunsmith finish. The AK-47 fuel injector by Emu came about from him wanting to do guns with a twist or theme. He first made it for the M249 as it fitted the loud and powerful character of the design. It got good feedback, but he was told that it was wasted on such an unpopular gun. He moved away to work on other series for a while, but liked the supercharged theme so much that he did it again but for the AK-47. He didn't think that it would work as well as with the M249, but fortune was on his side. The UV for the AK allows for a lot of detail on the magazine, which helped to enable this design to develop in Photoshop, the program he favours for most of the design process. This skin was well received and eventually was featured in a McSkillet video, which gained it a lot of exposure, though he always wondered if it was suitable for inclusion in CSGO. One day however, he woke up and found that it had been accepted. In his tired state, it took him a while to realise what had happened, but once he had, he was happy as hell, and it reassured him that the style had been appropriate. He later followed this success up with the Tec9, and his reaction was the same. He is thankful to everybody who voted for his skins and who followed and shared his work, and he is also grateful to Valve for rewarding him in this awesome way. He's done modding for a while, even back in the original Counter-Strike, but to see something added to the official game is a really cool feeling. Thanks Valve.